Howdy, how y'all doing today? So what we're going to do today is, or what I'm going to do today, is I'm going to tell you what my top 5 Tom Hanks movies are. This is my own little thing going against something that I read in the Hollywood Reporter a couple months ago, and I've been sitting on it for a while, where the critics decided to rank Tom Hanks' 37 movies. I didn't even know he'd only made 37 movies. It just seems like he's been around forever. Anyway, they ranked his top 37 movies, and I thought about ranking the top movies, but then I decided, you know what, I'm going to go a totally different route, and I'm going to tell you what my 5 favorites are. But before I go that far with it, let me give you their top 5 Tom Hanks movies. And it's interesting because the top 5 that they have, none of them are on my list. And so their number 5 movie was Castaway. I didn't see it. The number 4 movie was Big. I didn't see it. The number 3 movie is Apollo 13. I did see that. Their number 2 movie, Saving Private Ryan. I didn't see it. And their number 1 movie is Captain Phillips. I didn't see it. So I've only seen one of their top 5. Now, truth of the matter is, Apollo 13 could have made my list. It was close. I love that movie, but okay, I really enjoyed watching it, and it was really good, but it's a little downer. So I said, no, you know what? I've never watched it again. His best performance, if you ask me, was in Philadelphia. I mean, my goodness, what a tough movie that was to watch, and I watched it. That's not normally my style of movie, but I watched it. And he did deserve his Academy Award. Denzel deserved one too, but you know, that's how it works. So that one didn't make my list, but it could have. But like I said, I've only ever seen it the one time. And another movie that almost made my list was A League of Their Own. I actually have that one as well. And it didn't make it. It was right there on the verge. But, you know, I've seen it a few times. But it's not one of those movies where I can sit there and say, you know what, I would watch it over and over and over and over. Can't say that. So, the movies I'm going to name are movies that I either have watched over and over or still are watching over and over. And I'll explain that as I move along. So, my number 5 movie, a movie that they ranked as number 34 out of 37. It just shows you, I don't always agree with critics. Dragnet. The reason I love Dragnet is because it was just like the TV show used to be. I used to love Dragnet. I've got some Dragnet shows. I bought some DVDs of the shows from back in the day. And so having Dan Aykroyd and Tom Hanks play in Dragnet, I just thought it was a wonderful thing. Dan Aykroyd definitely channeled Joe Friday from the TV show. And Tom Hanks was just perfect. I watched this sucker over and over again. And one of these days I'm going to find it and buy it just so I can have it in my collection. But that was my number 5 movie. Number 4 is Da Vinci Code. Now, the critics ranked it number 26. And this is one of those cases where I actually had read the book first before I saw the movie. And I loved the book. Therefore, I loved the movie. I knew what was going on. And one of the things with critics is that they don't always read the books first. So they're just judging the movie based on what it is that they did. There's a lot of people who did that with the Harry Potter movies. They just said, well, look at all these gaps. There's all these things wrong. Whereas those of us who read the books knew exactly what was going on, and we just wondered how come the other morons didn't just read the books. Yeah, I said it. In this case, Da Vinci Code, I thought this was a fabulous movie. I've seen it multiple times. I have it somewhere here. I just don't know exactly where it is. But I love that movie. I thought it was fine. So that's my number 4. My number 3 will throw a lot of young people because you probably never saw this movie. Splash. I mean, Tom Hanks, Daryl Hannah, and John Candy. John Candy, for those of you who don't know, was a prominent comedian of the time. He was a great comic actor. Unfortunately, he was overweight and, you know, he died of a heart attack way too young. But he was fabulous in this movie. And this movie was not only funny, but it had heart. And Tom Hanks and Daryl Hannah played the heck out of this movie. And John Candy just lent everything else that this movie needed. I watched this movie tons and tons of times. I'm assuming it's out there somewhere, and I'm going to have to buy this movie one day. Number 2 on my list, which was number 14 on their list. What's wrong with these critics anyway? Green Mile. Green Mile was ranked number 14. Green Mile is a wonderful movie. It was a wonderful book. And it's a Stephen King book. For all of you who may think that Stephen King only writes horror, he writes some marvelous stuff. And Tom Hanks is, well, he's the star of this movie. Him and I never remember the big guy's name. You know what? I'll put a bubble up here later on. I never remember his name. I should smack myself. Anyway, Green Mile really kept close to the book about as much as it possibly could. It was a long movie, but this movie is deep. And Tom Hanks is just the coolest thing in this movie. And you know what? I watch it often. I've got this one. As a matter of fact, I held this one up so everyone could see that I had the sucker here. And the reason I did that is because my number 1 movie, I can't find it. But luckily I have it on digital. So I watch it on digital all the time on the Nook. And that is Forrest Gump. And the critics ranked this one number 12. You see what I mean about critics? I did that other video where I talked about, you know, critics hating stuff and whatever and not liking what the rest of us like. Forrest Gump, are you kidding? He won an Academy Award for this. I mean, restaurants were named after characters in the book. I mean, how many ways can you make shrimp? Shrimp salad, shrimp sandwich, shrimp whatever. I mean, my goodness. I mean, there are so many things. This movie was so creative. And it had its funny moments and it had its poignant moments. And it literally just rang your heart at one point. I mean, there was just so much good stuff in this movie. I can't believe that these guys only ranked at number 12. You know, like I said the other day, every movie is not going to be Citizen Kane. And for me, this movie was fantastic. This is a movie I didn't know what this was. I didn't know it was a book at the time. I knew nothing about it. I got kind of coerced into going, and I was glad. And I've seen it multiple times, and I just saw it about maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago again. So I love this movie, and I don't understand critics at all. Anyway, those are mine. I'm going to put the link to the article down below so that you can go and see other Tom Hanks movies that are on there. You know, a movie that almost made it, but it just didn't quite get there, of all things, was Bachelor Party. And I think they ranked Bachelor Party like number 35 or 36. But it was funny. Back in the 80s, this was a wild movie. There were a lot of us guys who got out there and were quoting things from this movie back in the day. But it doesn't play well now. So, you know, it is what it is. Anyway, that's what I have to say. I'd love to know what you guys think of my choices. If you take a look at their link, I'd like to know your comments on that. And I know someone's going to say, you didn't see Big? What's wrong with you? No, I didn't see Big. That's just how it is. Anyway, I hope you have a wonderful day. We'll talk next time.